Myra settled into the velvet seat of the carriage, the rich red fabric soft against her hands. The warm glow from the lanterns lit the small cabin, casting gentle shadows that danced across the polished wood. Outside, the countryside stretched endlessly, fields and forests blending together as the carriage rolled along the cobblestone road. It was her first time traveling alone for such a long journey, and a mix of excitement and nervousness swirled inside her. The gentle sway of the carriage was soothing, and Myra let her thoughts drift. She thought of the city she was heading toward, a place full of new opportunities and possibilities. Her parents had encouraged her to explore the world, and this trip was her first real taste of independence. She was determined to make the most of it, to see new places, meet new people, and maybe even discover parts of herself she had never known. Suddenly, the carriage jolted to a stop. Myra's heart skipped a beat as the sound of wood scraping against the ground echoed outside. A branch had fallen across the road, blocking their path. The driver, an older man with a calm expression, stepped down to inspect the situation. Myra leaned forward, curious but cautious. That's when she saw him, a young man stepping out from the nearby trees, moving quickly to help. Aaron had a confident air about him, yet his movements were gentle and careful. He lifted the branch with ease and placed it aside, making sure it would not fall again. Myra watched, intrigued. There was something about the way he carried himself, strong, calm, and yet approachable. When their eyes met for the first time, she felt an unexpected flutter in her chest. Aaron smiled, a small, friendly curve of his lips, and Myra realized her heart was racing faster than usual. "Are you traveling alone?" Aaron asked, his voice warm and kind. "Yes," Myra replied, trying to sound calm though her hands were slightly trembling. "It's my first long journey by myself." "That's brave," he said, nodding in approval. "It can be exciting, but also a little overwhelming." Myra smiled, feeling a connection forming, even in these brief moments. "Yes, I suppose it is. I hope it will be more exciting than overwhelming." The carriage driver signaled that they were ready to continue. Myra took a deep breath and returned to her seat, but she couldn't help glancing at Aaron again. He had returned to the side of the road, checking the path to ensure the carriage could move safely. There was something reassuring about his presence, even from a distance. As the carriage started moving again, the rhythmic sound of wheels on cobblestones filled the air. Myra looked out the window, trying to focus on the passing scenery, but she kept noticing Aaron walking alongside the carriage for a few moments, making sure the road was clear. She wondered where he was going and why he had been there in the first place. Her curiosity was piqued, and she felt an unusual eagerness to learn more about him. The landscape outside was changing rapidly. Rolling hills gave way to dense forests, and the golden light of the late afternoon sun streamed through the trees. Myra felt a sense of peace as the carriage moved steadily, yet her thoughts kept returning to the young man who had appeared so suddenly and confidently on the road. There was a spark of intrigue, a feeling that this meeting, though brief, might be more significant than she could yet understand. Minutes passed, then hours, as the carriage carried her further into the unknown. Myra tried to lose herself in the scenery, but a sense of anticipation lingered in her chest. She didn't know it yet, but this unexpected encounter on a quiet country road was the beginning of something extraordinary. The world outside the carriage seemed vast and endless, but within that small, velvet-lined space, the first threads of connection had already begun to weave a story of laughter, trust, and perhaps something more, a quiet spark that promised to grow with the journey ahead. As night fell, the lanterns inside the carriage cast a soft, golden light over Myra's thoughtful face. She leaned back, her fingers lightly brushing the velvet seat, and allowed herself to imagine what the coming days might bring. For the first time, she felt a sense of excitement not just for the journey itself, but for the unexpected possibilities that lay ahead, possibilities that began with a simple, chance meeting on a quiet country road. The next morning, Myra woke to the soft sunlight filtering through the curtains of the carriage. The gentle sway had become comforting, and she felt more at ease with each passing mile. Outside, the countryside was alive with color, golden fields stretching into the distance, dotted with wildflowers, and trees that shimmered as the wind whispered through their leaves. Myra felt a sense of wonder at the beauty of it all, and for a moment, she forgot the world beyond the carriage. As she adjusted her scarf and looked around, her eyes fell on Aaron. He was sitting across from her, casually leaning against the window, his gaze fixed on the passing scenery. Their eyes met, and a small smile spread across both faces. There was no awkwardness this time, only a quiet recognition of the bond that had begun the day before. "Good morning," Aaron said, his voice warm and easy. "Did you sleep well?" "Yes," Myra replied, returning his smile. "The gentle sway of the carriage actually helped me sleep." "And you?" "I slept better than I expected," he admitted, his eyes twinkling slightly. "I suppose I was more relaxed than I thought." A moment of comfortable silence followed. Myra picked up the small notebook she had been carrying, pretending to write something, though she found it hard to focus. Her thoughts kept drifting back to the previous day, to the way Aaron had appeared so effortlessly, helping with the fallen branch, and to the way her heart had reacted to him. It was strange how a single encounter could leave such a strong impression, yet here they were, traveling together, sharing this journey. Aaron leaned forward slightly. "Would you like to see something interesting?" he asked. Curious, Myra nodded. "Of course." He pointed to the distant hills where a small herd of deer was grazing near a stream. The sunlight glimmered on the water, and the deer moved gracefully, unaware of the carriage watching them. Myra's eyes lit up. "They're beautiful," she whispered, her voice full of awe. "They are," Aaron agreed. "It's moments like these that make traveling so rewarding. You never know what you might see around the next bend." Myra felt a warm happiness at the simplicity of it. Here they were, strangers a day ago, now sharing quiet moments and observing the beauty of the world together. She realized that this journey was becoming much more than just a physical trip, it was an opportunity to connect, to learn about someone new, and perhaps, to discover parts of herself she had not known before. As the hours passed, the carriage continued its steady rhythm along the winding road. Myra and Aaron began to share stories, starting with light-hearted memories from their childhood. Myra told him about her favorite place in her hometown, a small garden she had visited as a child, where the flowers seemed to bloom brighter than anywhere else. Aaron laughed softly, recalling a similar place from his own youth, where he had spent countless hours reading books beneath the shade of an old oak tree. Their conversation grew more animated as they exchanged tales of past adventures, dreams, and little wishes. Myra noticed how easy it was to talk to him, how natural it felt to share thoughts and laughter without hesitation. Aaron, in turn, found himself captivated by her gentle curiosity and the sparkle in her eyes when she described the things she loved. Every story, every laugh, every small shared glance deepened the connection between them. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, the carriage slowed near a quiet river. Aaron suggested they stop for a short walk. The two stepped down, the cool grass beneath their feet a refreshing change from the warmth of the carriage. Myra felt a thrill in the simple act of walking side by side with him, talking about everything and nothing at all. They paused at the edge of the river, watching the water ripple in the gentle evening breeze. Myra felt a quiet peace in the moment, a sense of belonging she had not expected to find so far from home. Aaron looked at her and smiled, and she realized her heart was beating a little faster. It was not just the scenery or the novelty of the journey, it was him. As they returned to the carriage, the world outside darkened, but inside, a soft light lingered, a warmth that came not from the lanterns, but from the shared experiences of the day. Myra sat back, glancing at Aaron once more, feeling a sense of anticipation for the days to come. She did not know what the future held, but she knew that this journey, and the young man who had appeared so unexpectedly, was already changing her in ways she had not imagined. And so, as the carriage rolled steadily into the night, Myra felt a quiet excitement, a promise of adventure, laughter, and perhaps, something more, a connection that was slowly growing, as steady and gentle as the wheels turning beneath them. Night had fallen over the countryside, and the carriage moved quietly along the winding road. Outside, the sky was dark and dotted with countless stars, their soft light reflecting on the gentle curves of the hills. Inside, the lanterns cast a warm glow, illuminating the faces of Myra and Aaron as they sat across from each other. The day's journey had been filled with laughter, stories, and shared discoveries, but now, with the quiet of night surrounding them, a different kind of closeness began to grow. A sudden clap of thunder broke the calm. Myra flinched slightly, her hand instinctively moving toward the seat beside her. Aaron noticed immediately, his gaze filled with concern. "It's only a storm passing through," he said softly. "Nothing to worry about." Myra nodded, though her fingers tightened around the edge of the velvet seat. She had always been slightly uneasy during storms, especially when traveling alone. Aaron noticed this, and without a word, he removed his coat and draped it gently over her shoulders. The warmth of the fabric was comforting, but it was the thoughtfulness behind it that made her heart flutter. "Thank you," she whispered, feeling a warmth that had nothing to do with the coat. Aaron smiled, a quiet, reassuring smile that seemed to make the carriage feel even cozier. "You don't need to thank me. It's only natural to look out for each other, especially on a night like this." The carriage rocked gently as it continued along the road. Outside, the rain began to fall, soft at first and then heavier, tapping rhythmically against the roof and windows. Myra watched the droplets slide down the glass, the world outside blurred into a watercolor of shadows and light. She felt safe in the small space of the carriage, her unease softened by Aaron's presence. They began to talk again, but this time the conversation was quieter, more personal. Myra shared memories she had rarely told anyone, moments of fear, moments of hope, and small dreams she held close to her heart. Aaron listened intently, his eyes never leaving hers, his expression calm and understanding. He shared some of his own fears and dreams, stories of times he had felt uncertain, yet had found courage through small acts of kindness and moments of trust. As the storm raged outside, the air inside the carriage seemed charged with an unspoken closeness. Myra realized how easy it felt to confide in him, to speak freely without fear of judgment. Aaron, in turn, felt a growing admiration for her openness and gentle strength. In the quiet of the night, a bond was forming, one that went beyond friendship, yet was tender and respectful, filled with understanding and care. At one point, their hands brushed accidentally as Myra reached for her notebook. Both paused, a brief moment suspended in time. Myra felt a warm rush through her body, and she noticed Aaron's gaze linger on her hand. Neither pulled away immediately. Instead, they allowed the small contact to remain, a quiet acknowledgement of the growing feelings between them. The storm began to pass, the rain softening to a gentle drizzle. Aaron suggested they lean closer to the window to watch the sky clear. Together, they watched the clouds part and the moonlight spill over the landscape. The world outside shimmered with reflection, silver drops clinging to leaves and branches, while the stars peeked once again through the dissipating clouds. Myra felt a sense of wonder and peace she had not known in a long time. She realized that the journey itself was no longer just about reaching a destination, it was about the shared moments, the laughter, the quiet confidences, and the gentle support that had grown between them. Aaron, too, felt that this journey was becoming something more meaningful, something he wanted to nurture and explore. As the carriage continued along the road, Myra leaned back, her hands still resting near Aaron's. She felt a sense of anticipation, a quiet excitement for the days to come. The storm had brought a moment of vulnerability, yet it had also revealed a connection that neither had expected. It was a closeness that promised trust, laughter, and the possibility of something deeper, a bond that felt as natural and gentle as the rocking of the carriage itself. By the time the carriage reached a small clearing to rest for the night, Myra and Aaron had shared smiles, glances, and soft conversation that left both hearts lighter than before. As they prepared for a brief pause in the journey, both knew that something special had begun, something that would continue to grow with each passing mile, quietly, steadily, and beautifully, like the gentle turning of the wheels beneath them. The morning sunlight spilled through the carriage windows, casting warm golden patterns on the floor. The storm from the previous night had passed, leaving the air fresh and fragrant with the scent of wet earth and blooming flowers. Myra stretched, feeling rested and eager for another day of travel. Her eyes met Aaron's, and a small smile passed between them, an unspoken acknowledgement of the closeness that had grown during the storm. As the carriage moved along the winding road, Aaron leaned forward slightly, his eyes sparkling with a playful idea. "I have a small challenge for you," he said, his voice teasing. Myra raised an eyebrow, curious. "A challenge? What kind of challenge?" He grinned. "A spotting game. Whoever can spot the most interesting things along the road wins." Myra laughed softly, her heart lifting at his playful tone. "All right, you're on," she said. "But don't think I'll go easy on you." And so, the carriage became a place of light-hearted competition. They pointed out fields of flowers, unusual trees, distant birds, and small animals darting through the grass. Every time Myra spotted something first, Aaron would shake his head in mock defeat, and every time Aaron noticed something new, Myra would clap and laugh, enjoying the simple joy of shared amusement. "You have a good eye for details," Aaron said after she pointed out a cluster of wildflowers that seemed to glow in the sunlight. "Maybe I just pay more attention because I'm trying to beat you," Myra replied with a playful smile. Their laughter filled the carriage, blending with the rhythmic sound of wheels on the cobblestone road. For a while, the world outside seemed to disappear, leaving only the two of them and the easy, joyful companionship they had discovered. Myra felt a warmth in her chest she could not explain, a lightness that came from being with someone who could make her laugh so freely, even in the middle of a journey she had begun alone. As the hours passed, their competition turned into conversations about their favorite places, memories from childhood, and the little joys that had shaped their lives. Aaron shared stories of secret hideaways he had discovered while traveling, quiet spots where the world seemed to pause. Myra told him about her favorite corners in her hometown, places filled with laughter, music, and the scent of flowers she had loved as a child. At one point, the carriage passed a small orchard, where rows of fruit trees were heavy with ripening fruit. Aaron suggested they stop for a short break and explore the area. The driver pulled the carriage to the side, and Myra stepped out, feeling the soft grass beneath her feet. Aaron followed, and together they wandered among the trees, admiring the fruit and the quiet beauty of the orchard. "Do you think we could pick some for later?" Myra asked, reaching for a low-hanging apple. "Of course," Aaron replied, handing her a small basket. It would be a shame to leave them behind. As they moved through the orchard, their hands occasionally brushed, sending small, unexpected sparks of warmth through both of them. Neither spoke of it at first, but both felt the growing connection between them. It was a gentle, natural closeness that made the world feel brighter, lighter, and full of possibility. After a while, they returned to the carriage, carrying the fruit and continuing their playful rivalry. The game had become more than spotting things. It was about sharing moments, discovering laughter, and feeling the quiet joy of companionship. Myra realized that she had not felt this happy in a long time, and Aaron understood that he had not felt such ease and warmth with anyone in years. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, the carriage slowed near a small hill. Aaron suggested they pause to watch the sunset. Myra leaned back against the soft velvet seat, feeling the warmth of the fading sunlight on her face. Beside her, Aaron sat quietly, his gaze fixed on the horizon. They said little, but their silence was comfortable, full of understanding. Myra noticed how naturally he fit into her world, how his presence made the journey feel richer and more meaningful. Aaron, too, felt a sense of peace, knowing that this shared day of laughter and quiet moments had brought them even closer. As the carriage continued into the evening, Myra reflected on the day. What had started as a playful challenge had become a journey of discovery, not only of the world around them but also of the connection that was slowly, gently growing between them. The carriage ride, with its simple pleasures and shared laughter, had become a place of warmth, trust, and a promise of more beautiful moments to come. And so, as the wheels turned steadily along the winding road, Myra and Aaron sat side by side, hearts light and spirits lifted, ready for whatever the next day of their journey might bring. The morning air was crisp and bright as the carriage rolled steadily along the quiet road. Myra gazed out the window, watching the sunlight dance across the fields. After days of travel, she felt a comforting rhythm in the movement of the carriage, and beside her, Aaron's presence had become as familiar as the soft sway of the wheels. Their playful games and shared stories had built a bond that both of them felt but had not yet fully spoken aloud. As the carriage slowed near a small grove of trees, Aaron turned to Myra with a thoughtful expression. "Myra," he began softly, "can I tell you something?" Myra looked at him, her curiosity piqued. "Of course," she said, her voice steady but gentle. Aaron took a small breath, gathering his courage. "Since the moment we met, I've felt something different. Something I can't quite explain. It's like there's a connection between us, stronger than anything I've felt before." Myra's heart skipped a beat. She felt the same way but had not dared to name it, not wanting to disrupt the ease of their companionship. Now, hearing his words, a wave of warmth and relief washed over her. She reached out and placed her hand lightly on his. "Aaron. I feel the same," she admitted, her voice soft and sincere. "I didn't know if I should say it, but yes, I feel it too." For a moment, they simply held hands, letting the quiet of the morning surround them. The trees swayed gently in the breeze, and birds called softly in the distance. It was a moment of pure understanding, a gentle acknowledgement that the bond between them was more than friendship. It was the beginning of something deeper. Aaron smiled, a mixture of relief and happiness in his expression. I was afraid I might be wrong, he said, his fingers brushing hers gently. I didn't want to make things awkward between us. You could never make things awkward with me, Myra replied, her smile brightening. I've never felt this, understood before. With you, it feels easy, and right. The carriage continued its journey, but neither Myra nor Aaron could focus on the scenery. Their conversation had opened a door, one they had both been hesitant to cross until now. They began to share more personal thoughts, dreams of the future, hopes for the lives they wanted to build, and the little things that made them happy. Each word strengthened the connection between them, weaving a quiet intimacy that neither had expected to find on a simple carriage ride. At one point, Aaron reached over and tucked a loose strand of hair behind Myra's ear. The simple gesture sent a small thrill through her, and she realized that even the smallest touches mattered. He looked at her with gentle curiosity, as if discovering something new and wonderful about her with every passing moment. Myra's heart felt light, and she knew that this feeling, this quiet passion, was something she wanted to nurture. As the sun climbed higher, the carriage passed through a field of wildflowers, their colors vibrant and lively. Myra picked a small flower and held it out to Aaron, who accepted it with a playful bow. They laughed together, the sound mingling with the rustling of the grass and the soft creaking of the carriage wheels. In that laughter, there was no pretense, no hesitation, only the joy of sharing a moment fully, of being present with each other. Hours passed, yet neither noticed. Their bond had grown in ways that words could only partially capture. Each glance, each smile, each quiet touch was a reaffirmation of the feelings they had admitted. Myra realized that she had not felt this alive in a long time, and Aaron understood that he had never experienced a connection as natural and comforting as the one he shared with her. As the day drew to a close, the carriage slowed near a quiet riverbank. The sun's golden light reflected on the water, painting the world in shades of amber and rose. Myra and Aaron sat in companionable silence, their hands still entwined. They didn't need words to express what they felt. The gentle rhythm of the carriage, the soft sounds of nature, and the quiet presence of each other spoke volumes. In that peaceful moment, both Myra and Aaron understood that their journey was no longer just a physical one. It had become a journey of hearts, a path of discovery, laughter, trust, and growing affection. And as the carriage continued its slow movement along the riverbank road, they both felt a quiet excitement for the days ahead, knowing that this newfound connection was something precious, something worth cherishing, and something that had only just begun. The morning air was fresh and cool as the carriage rolled along the winding road. Myra and Aaron had grown more comfortable with each other in the past days, their laughter and shared stories forming a quiet bond that seemed unbreakable. But as they approached a small town, a new challenge loomed quietly ahead. The driver announced that the carriage would need to stop for repairs. A tree branch had fallen near the town gate, blocking the road ahead, and the last part of Myra's journey would require her to travel separately due to the carriage schedule. Myra felt a small pang of worry. She had grown used to having Aaron nearby, and the thought of being apart, even for a short while, felt heavier than she expected. Aaron noticed the change in her expression. "It's not for long," he said gently, placing a reassuring hand on hers. "We'll find a way to meet again soon. Distance won't change what we've discovered about each other." Myra nodded, though her heart felt a little tight. "I know," she said softly. "It's just, I didn't realize how much I enjoy having you here with me." Aaron smiled, though there was a hint of concern in his eyes. "I feel the same," he admitted. "This journey has been different because of you. I don't want it to end." The carriage stopped at the town's small inn, and the passengers disembarked to rest while the repairs were made. Myra and Aaron walked together through the quiet streets, enjoying the soft sunlight that reflected off the cobblestones. They spoke about small things at first shops they passed, the smell of baked bread from the local bakery, the laughter of children playing near a fountain, but beneath the light conversation, both felt the tension of the approaching separation. At one point, they paused near the town square, the sound of a fountain filling the air. Myra looked at Aaron, uncertainty in her eyes. "Do you think we can stay in touch? Write letters, maybe?" she asked. "Of course," Aaron replied without hesitation. "And we can plan to meet again when the journey allows. We won't let a little distance break what we've found." Myra felt a warmth spread through her chest at his words. She realized that the bond they had built was strong enough to withstand the temporary obstacle. Yet, the thought of leaving him even briefly made her heart ache. They decided to make the most of their remaining time together. Aaron suggested a short walk to a nearby orchard, a quiet place he had discovered years ago. Myra agreed eagerly, grateful for the distraction and the chance to enjoy his company one more time before parting ways. The orchard was peaceful, sunlight streaming through the trees and highlighting the soft green of the leaves. Myra and Aaron wandered among the trees, picking a few fruits and sharing laughter as they compared which ones looked the juiciest. Their hands brushed occasionally, each touch sending a small, electric warmth through them. Neither needed to speak their feelings aloud, they were evident in every glance, every smile, and every shared moment. As the afternoon wore on, they found a quiet bench beneath a large oak tree. They sat side by side, watching the sunlight dance on the orchard floor. Myra leaned slightly toward Aaron, feeling the comfort of his presence, and he did the same, resting his shoulder just slightly against hers. "I wish this journey didn't have to end, even for a little while," Myra said softly, almost a whisper. "Neither do I," Aaron admitted, his hand finding hers again. "But I know we'll see each other soon. And until then, we'll hold on to what we have." They stayed there for a long while, speaking of small dreams and quiet hopes, letting the moment stretch and linger. Even though a temporary obstacle had appeared in their path, they both realized that it could not weaken what they had found in each other. The bond they shared was built on more than proximity, it was built on laughter, trust, understanding, and a quiet, growing affection that distance could not diminish. As the carriage was finally ready to continue, Myra and Aaron returned with the sense that their hearts were aligned, even if the road ahead required a short separation. They exchanged a meaningful glance, a silent promise to hold on, to write, and to meet again soon. Myra stepped into the carriage, and Aaron stood outside for a moment, watching her settle in. The wheels began to turn again, carrying Myra forward, but the feeling of connection remained as strong as ever. She knew that this journey, and the bond she had discovered with Aaron, was far from over. And Aaron, watching her leave, felt a quiet certainty that no matter the miles between them, their hearts had found something worth cherishing, a passion that had begun quietly and would continue to grow. The morning sun rose gently over the distant hills, casting soft light across the road. Myra felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness as the carriage rolled along. The last leg of her journey had begun, and though she was traveling alone now, her thoughts were filled with memories of the past days with Aaron. Every laugh, every shared glance, and every quiet moment had left a lasting mark on her heart. Aaron had promised to meet her at the end of the journey, and she trusted him completely. Their letters over the past days had kept the bond alive, words carefully chosen to express feelings they could not fully show in person. Myra's heart beat faster with anticipation, imagining the moment when they would finally see each other again. The carriage passed through gentle hills and quiet fields. Myra watched the landscape with a sense of wonder, feeling a soft happiness within her. Though she was alone, she was not lonely. The presence of Aaron lingered in her mind and heart, making the journey feel lighter, filled with hope and anticipation. As the carriage approached a small village at the edge of the city, Myra's eyes brightened. She knew this was the place where Aaron had promised to meet her. Her heart raced as she scanned the road, searching for a familiar figure. And then she saw him, Aaron, standing near a wooden fence, leaning slightly against it, his eyes fixed on the approaching carriage. The carriage slowed to a gentle stop. Myra's breath caught in her throat as Aaron stepped forward, a warm smile spreading across his face. She felt a surge of relief and joy as she recognized the familiarity in his gaze, the same calm confidence and gentle warmth that had captivated her from the start. As soon as the carriage doors opened, Aaron extended his hand. Myra stepped down, her feet meeting the soft ground, and she took his hand without hesitation. Their fingers intertwined naturally, as if they had been meant to fit together from the beginning. The world around them seemed to fade, leaving only the two of them standing there, connected and full of quiet happiness. "I missed you," Aaron said simply, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "I missed you too," Myra replied, her smile bright, her heart full. "More than I thought possible." They began to walk together along the quiet streets of the village, talking softly, sharing the small moments they had experienced during their separation. Every word, every glance, every gentle touch strengthened the bond they had built over the journey. The letters, the brief absence, and the anticipation had only made their connection stronger. As they reached a small bridge overlooking a sparkling stream, they paused. Myra leaned slightly against the railing, and Aaron stood close beside her. The water reflected the sunlight in gentle ripples, and the world seemed peaceful, serene, and perfect in that moment. "I'm glad we found each other again," Myra said softly, looking up at him. "Me too," Aaron replied, taking her hand in both of his. "This journey has been unforgettable. Not because of the places we've seen, but because of the time we've shared. You've made every moment brighter." Myra felt a warmth spread through her chest. She realized that this journey, which had begun as a simple carriage ride, had become something far more meaningful. It had been a journey of discovery, not just of the world around them, but of the feelings, trust, and joy they could share together. Aaron smiled and gently brushed a strand of hair from Myra's face. "No matter where life takes us, I want us to keep this, our laughter, our stories, our connection. It's only the beginning." Myra nodded, her eyes shining. "Yes. This is just the beginning. I want every moment with you to be full of hope, joy, and everything we've discovered together." The sun climbed higher, illuminating the path ahead. They walked side by side, their hands still intertwined, feeling the simple happiness of being together. The carriage ride, the playful games, the quiet moments, and even the brief separation had led to the realization that their connection was strong, real, and full of promise. As they left the village behind and continued toward the city, both Myra and Aaron felt a quiet excitement for the future. They knew challenges might come, but they also knew that the bond they had discovered was something worth cherishing and protecting. Together, they would face the world, carrying with them the joy, laughter, and gentle passion that had begun in the velvet carriage. And as the carriage wheels turned slowly along the winding road, Myra and Aaron walked hand in hand, hearts light, spirits lifted, and lives intertwined. Their journey had started unexpectedly, but it had grown into a story of trust, laughter, and the quiet, steady bloom of love, a story that was only just beginning.